So today we're going to talk about some mistakes, some challenges. Either A, she's going to be talking about things in the past. B, we're going to be talking about hopefully some things that are current.
And at the time we didn't have money for an attorney, so I'm like, how am I going to get this to come to fruition? I just remembered he worked at Red Robin. Hey, does Bob work here? And the guy's like, who's this? I'm like, oh, my name's Carolina, and I'm trying to purchase his home. He's like, he starts like, I go, it's just a yes or no question. You're not in trouble. I just want to know where my attorney needs to send paperwork to.
Genius.
And so he's like, yes, he works here. So we get off the phone, and within minutes, Bob calls me. I will sign whatever you need to sign. Do not send your attorney to me.
Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. I've got one of my great friends. I love her so much. I even love her so much that I pronounce her name correctly. Even though the way she spells her name is Carolina. Did your mom do this on purpose?
Well, I'm Hispanic, so the I sounds like an E.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Her name is spelled Carolina for us white folk over here, gringos over here, but it's pronounced Carolina Allen. She's in the Northwest leadership in Subto. You are unbelievable. I love being around you. I've probably get to see you, I feel like once a quarter for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Seems like, right?
It's been kind of awesome.
So today we're going to talk about something that I think not a lot of people talk about. It will help a lot of people understand that it's okay to have problems, issues, challenges in your business. I think most people go on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and they celebrate all their wins. Look at all my cash flow. Look at all the things that I'm doing. I'm even guilty of that. Mm-hmm. Eric, do we ever talk about our big mistakes? Yes. We do? He's getting defensive. He's like, no, I promise we do. I don't know. Yeah. I don't really feel like we do it enough.
People don't really talk about it.
I don't feel like they do.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about some mistakes, some challenges. Either A, she's going to be talking about things in the past. B, we're going to be talking about hopefully some things that are current. She has something going on with an attorney that she says, I'm not allowed to talk about it. So I'm hoping by the end of this episode, I get her to talk about it. If I'm as good of a closer as Daniel Quijano has trained me to do, I'm going to close her on telling us what's going on with his attorney. So if there were some mistakes that you could share on a podcast openly without an attorney involved in it, what would one of those be?
Yeah, so I'll talk about my very second deal. So
okay, paint me a picture. Here's what I want to know. I want to be transported to a new part of the country. Okay. Where is this deal located?
In Oregon.
And what year did this happen?
2020.
Okay, so 3 years ago, 2020, in Oregon. Go.
Okay. My very, very second deal ever. We were actually my husband and I, Stephen Allen, we were going to fix and flip this property. And after doing, our thorough inspection, getting a sewer scope done, some sort of pipe underneath the house was down. It wasn't the yucky, poopy water, thankfully, but one of the pipes was down. We did a sewer scope. We got quoted like $15,000. And so that kind of messed with our numbers a little bit. Going back to the homeowner, I said, hey, you know what? We got to bring the price down. He wasn't too thrilled about that. So then I was transparent. Hey, listen, let me see if I can do maybe like an open house and see if some of my investor friends can come and take my place to try to wholesale this
Interesting. Okay, so I like this. Check this out, guys. This is what she's saying. You're under contract with the seller. Mm-hmm. You're doing your inspection because you actually plan on buying this property to fix and flip it.
Right.
Whereas normally in a wholesale transaction, you're not going out and hiring an inspector and paying $600, $800, $1,000 to do this. But good thing you did, because you found out there's a $15,000 issue. The sewer pipe was all corroded underneath the house, it sounds like, because otherwise it wouldn't be $15,000. And you go, dang it, this just screwed up our fix and flip.
Right.
We no longer can make money on this safely. So you then go to the seller and go, we have a great idea. Mm-hmm. We're going to wholesale your property without you. Did you tell him what you were going to wholesale it?
I didn't. I just said, if we want to try to keep the number the same or maybe get you a little bit more, maybe we can find somebody that has deeper pockets than us that
you might bring on as a partner.
Yeah, and take our place.
Okay, so instead of saying, hey, I'm going to wholesale this to somebody else, which is essentially what you're going to tell me the story of, you told the seller that maybe we can find somebody to come in and partner with us that has more money to cover that $15,000 that we did not account for, and we can still do this project.
Right.
Cool.
Still come through and close on time and all that. So we did our open house, and my second deal, I blasted it everywhere, put it on Facebook, Craigslist, did all the things. We did our little 2-3 hour open house. I can't remember how long it was. And then come to find, after the open house was over, some other investor, which I still don't know who it was, try to strike a deal with his homeowner.
Fun.
Yes, not really. So he, of course, you know, we come by, and I had my open house sheet where I had all my people, my contacts, and I actually did find a cash buyer that was ready to take my place. The numbers were going to stay the same. We were going to be able to move forward and all of that. So the homeowner then tells me he wants to cancel after I tell him, hey, we're ready to move forward. Things are looking good. And so at this point, being my second deal, I guess the side story is Stephen and I went into the home to kind of present, hey, we're ready to move forward. This is what's going on. And then all of a sudden, all these dudes and like wife beaters and tattoos, like really big thugs, start coming in. My girl radar starts going off like, oh my gosh, these guys are here to intimidate us, right? And my husband's like, no, they're just going to go play video games. And the other day, loves Stephen, but he sees all the good in people.
Right.
So I pretend, you know, I'm like, you know what, my computer's not working, so I will send you the paperwork when I get home. I need my special mouse. This thing's just not working for me. We get the heck out of there. And as I'm going home, I'm thinking all these things. I'm an overthinker. And Steven's like, gosh darn it, lost the deal. And so I call my good friend that's a real estate agent. And at this point, I'm kind of freaking out because I put a lot of time and effort into this, you know, building rapport with this homeowner, trying to really come through for them.
I mean, for heaven's sakes, you went and did a freaking open house.
I did.
You went out and marketed this thing. You coordinated people coming to the property, even in the midst of the deal. I mean, you could have done a couple of different things that would have not benefited the homeowner. You could have gone in and said, hey, this sewer pipe is not my problem. We need to reduce the purchase price. And you could have pushed really hard on that, but you didn't. You said, let me figure out how to get you a higher price. So like you're putting a lot of time and energy to make sure they're taken care of.
Right. So luckily I had a girlfriend of mine and mentorship before you, sorry. But I used that contract and she goes, Carolina, he can't get out of the contract. So she goes, did you read this clause down here? If they want to cancel, they have to pay you $5,000. I'm like, wait, that clause is in there? Sweet.
Wow, yes.
So I get home, we both together over the phone type up a really nice letter, basically telling the homeowner that if he wants to cancel within 48 hours, he needs to pay us this amount. Otherwise, we're moving forward with the closing. He gets the DocuSign, isn't too thrilled with me.
Of course not. What did he say something via email? Did he text you? What happened?
Oh, he calls me. He's like,
are you effing kidding me?
Pretty much. Your time. What time did you do? You didn't put anything into this. No way. You know. And you know, in hindsight, I'm the one that whoever this other buyer is that was trying to come. Like that person wouldn't have known had I not blasted it, right? So, needless to say, he couldn't sign the document. He was still, you know, hesitant about closing. So, the good thing about building rapport and talking to homeowners, which I remembered, and at the time we didn't have money for an attorney, so I'm like, how am I going to get this to come to fruition? I just remembered he worked at Red Robin. So then I said, what if I start calling the Red Robins around and I just, you know, hey, I'm just going to call him Bob. Does Bob work here?
Please tell me his name is really Bob.
It's not Bob.
Damn it.
I'm trying to be nice. So I'm like, does Bob work here? A couple of them say no. Finally get to the right one. Hey, does Bob work here? And the guy's like, who's this? I'm like, oh, my name's Carolina, and I'm trying to purchase his home. And he's like, you know, he starts like, I go, it's just a yes or no question. You're not in trouble. I just want to know where my attorney needs to send paperwork to.
Genius.
And so he's like, yes, he works here. So we get off the phone, and within minutes, Bob calls me. I will sign whatever you need to sign. Do not send your attorney to me. So
wow.
I saved myself a few $1,000s.
Write that down. Genius.
So that was interesting.
Getting creative when you don't have the resources to hire an attorney.
Yeah. So, and just having that rapport that I knew the homeowner and I remembered where he worked. So long story short, he was having issues. He needed the funds from closing to actually get into his apartment. So we found an Airbnb for him for a couple nights. I told him, hey, put it on your credit card. I will reimburse you. Do you need help with your you know, big furniture? I know it's not all going to fit. What are you going to do with it? We found storage unit. Buy 1 month, get one free. Again, put it on your credit card.
Damn, you're putting a lot of work in on this second deal.
You know what? He wasn't too happy with me. I was trying to like make it so that he actually comes to the close table.
Carolina, would you say you're a people pleaser?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So at the end of the day, I mean, He actually did give me a hug when we closed. We came and checked
course
the
he did.
property, and he's like, I didn't know about you at first, but
You
came
took care of
through."
him.
Yeah.
You not only came through for this guy, you went out of your way to come through for this guy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so the lesson there is don't do an open house.
Don't do an open house. Nope.
I see a lot of people do the open house type of stuff, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Keegley used to do that. They used to do an open house thing, and they would have the seller there, and the way they would set it up was a little bit. They've improved. This was 5 years ago, and I'm like, wow. And they were having problems with people going around because what would happen is you weren't attracting actual cash buyers. You were attracting wholesalers that would go into that appointment. The person who went around your back was the wholesaler. It's not a buyer.
Oh, yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No, you're right. And actually at that open house, now that you say that, there was a guy that was a wholesaler. He's like, he was in the front as we were checking people. Steven the bouncer was checking people in. And I remember him making comments like, does the seller know that you're making money off of this? Does the seller know you're getting an assignment?
Gosh.
And I'm like, well, yeah. Do you work for free? Like, sorry, of course I'm getting paid. So it was just interesting.
Why do you like Oregon?
Why do I live there? It's beautiful. It's my home.
Do you feel like there's a lot of opportunity in Portland?
There is. Well, not in Portland. I would actually do more like Washington County, Clark County. I stay out of Multnomah.
Okay, so
Multnomah's
those are the
trouble.
two counties you focus on. You're doing some wraps. You've done some Subto seller finance stuff in Oregon. I thought it was illegal in Oregon.
No.
Subto's not illegal in Oregon?
It's not illegal. No.
Carolina, come on.
No,
That's what people in my DMs tell me.
No, I don't think so.
And
No.
that's what people in my comments tell me.
No.
Okay, so that's a great lesson. I love that. So don't do an open house. That one ended out working pretty great. Did you end up making decent money on it?
I mean, it wasn't a great one, but it was 10,000. I mean, it was
10,000 net after you paid for like the Airbnb stuff, or 10,000 gross. You had to cover all that stuff, so you ended up netting about 7,000.
Actually, that one might have been the 15,000. Sorry. Yeah, 15.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me another one.
Another one.
Like that one you were telling me about with the attorney. You know what I'm saying?
That'll be to be continued.
You have a deal working on right now.
Yeah.
Is it a single family home?
Right now,
is it in Oregon?
So I have 3 under contract right now, and I have one that I'm about ready to sign. 2 of them are in Oregon. 1 of them is in Indiana. It's actually my very first Spanish-speaking one that I closed.
I saw that.
That was pretty exciting. That was a small one.
Who was
the queen closer, Jen Shelton.
I saw that, Jen Shelton.
So that was pretty exciting.
Does she speak Spanish?
Un poquito.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I did not know that Jen Shelton spoke Spanish enough to get a deal closed.
No, I closed the deal in Spanish.
You speak Spanish?
No, she passed it to me because she couldn't.
Does anybody look at this girl and go, wow, she speaks Spanish? No. The answer is no. Nobody's
I'm undercover.
I'd say so.
I know. Yeah. I wasn't confident in my Spanish enough, so she gave me the opportunity. I'm forever grateful. It was on my list of to-dos. I would like to get a deal with.
Is it a cash deal or creative?
It's a cash deal. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She does Indianapolis, or she does
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The homeowner originally wanted 160, and with our assignment and everything included, it's going to be 65,000.
Okay, great. So what's another mistake you've made in one of those contracts? What's something that you wish you knew on some of those contracts?
In one of those contracts, I don't know. With the Spanish, I think the trouble with that one is we don't have Spanish contracts. So
we have Spanish contracts.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, sugar. Neither Jen and I knew that.
Did you guys email Molly?
No.
Well, there you go.
Going forward. Excellent.
Email Molly.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, email Molly. She'll get you straightened out.
Okay.
We do have, there you go. There's another mistake. Yeah, we do have Spanish contracts. They weren't requested for the first couple of years of Subto, and so they were like this thing on the back shelf, but we do have them.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
The ones that we don't, there's a couple we don't have, like a lease option agreement. Nobody's ever asked for it, so we've never converted it. And there's something else that we never converted over to a Spanish speaking, but we do have Spanish speaking all the purchase contracts.
Okay.
Okay, so on this attorney deal.
I love that you're stuck on it.
Is it in Oregon?
Yes.
Okay, and what is we don't have to talk about the address. What's the situation?
The situation is that
this video will literally not go out for 4 months. So by the time you're done.
So homeowner was under contract with me. I've been talking to him for quite some time. And in the meantime, no, this one was a hybrid.
Okay, a hybrid deal. So part Subto, part seller finance. You got under contract when?
When did I get under contract? A little
weeks or months?
It's May.
May. Okay.
May-ish.
So you've been under contract for a
Yeah.
while. What has prevented you from closing? You haven't found a buyer.
No, I had a buyer. Actually, we were going to take it and keep it for ourselves because it was going to be an Airbnb for us.
Okay.
With one of our partners. And what happened was that when we started underwriting it a little bit more, we decided, you know what, it's not cash flowing the way we wanted it to, and it needs a little more work. So my partner actually, I ended up assigning it to him because he wanted to keep it as a vacation home.
Love
so
it.
it was a win still. The homeowner, we had been open under escrow for about a week, and he started doing estate sales. In the meantime,
If you do an estate sale, you're painting a picture for me right now that
Yeah.
you've got all this stuff at the property that they're selling, and somebody comes along and says, "Oh, in a estate sale, can I buy your property?" Is this what
Yeah,
happened?
That's exactly what happened. So a couple of weeks, or I don't remember the time, I'm not 100% sorry. About a week or so, maybe, or 2 weeks before he signed, his wife actually passed away. So he's an older gentleman. My
Okay.
heart, I felt awful for him. And so, you know, my bird dog actually brought this deal to me. They presented creative because they knew cash wouldn't work for this property. So he had already been kind of told you know, what it would be like. Then it was brought to me. I again explained what we could do. And then, so we had several conversations about the creative.
And
you
now
know,
the seller's
option.
saying, "I didn't understand."
Yeah. So he said that he's claiming that I rushed him, that he didn't know what he was signing, that, what else did he say? That he didn't know it was creative. His main thing was that he wanted to cash out completely. And this is the crazy part, you know, with us, like the homeowner named his price, $408,000. That was his price. He had about $35,000 in equity. He was going to get 20 of that at closing. So
Wow. So basically all of it.
15 was going to be over time. He didn't like that too much. He wanted to be cashed out.
He didn't like that because another buyer came along and tried to convince him just to cash it all the way out.
Yeah. Well, and the new buyer offered him 410. So it wasn't like this massive spread that he was going to get.
You know, this is truly one of the most challenging parts of the business. And I'm glad you're bringing this up. I didn't know how to solve this for a while because this happens a lot. You'll get under contract with the seller and somebody will come along and call them a week later and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I already sold my house." Oh, and a good wholesaler will say, "When did you close? It looks like you're still the owner. I'm looking at public record." "Oh, we haven't closed yet. We're in escrow." Oh, which actually I think is a great strategy for you and me.
Yeah.
You should follow up and go, "Have they closed? Have they closed? Have they closed?" I've got a deal right now in Lubbock, Texas, 4 separate buildings, 150 something units, seller finance, apartments. And we get to LOI stage. We're about to send out the LOI. The broker and us are talking. Broker's like, "Send out the LOI." Great. Send out LOI. They accept it. We're now in LOI, which, you know, in multifamily, that's almost a contract. Like, people in single family don't really consider it a contract, but in multifamily, that's like contract. You're not negotiating with anybody else. You give us time to come out. We fly out. We do negotiations, and we go do our inspection. So we fly out Lubbock, Texas, 3 weeks ago, and we find out there's a bunch of foundational issues, and we go back to the seller and we go, "Hey, there's a problem here. We might need to cancel the LOI or we need to reduce the price." And their immediate response is, "No worries. We just contracted with somebody else yesterday." And they're willing to pay 50 grand more than you guys are. So what did we do? Did we throw up our hands and go, "Wait, you can't do that"? What we did is we said, Bo, who you know in the community, Bo calls me and goes, "What should we do?" And I go, "Let them go sign with the other people because I know the price. I know what's going on. And if these people are truly willing to pay that price, then they deserve to lose money." And I think what will happen is when they cancel, it will come back to us at a better price. Guess what happened on Friday of this week, a couple days ago?
Yeah.
Seller calls us up. "Hey, the buyer didn't perform. They actually never even came in and did an inspection. Can we get back? Can we go back to addressing the LOI?" And we said, "Yes, but at $100,000 less." Got under contract. So it works out. Like when you follow up with people that don't perform, it does work out. So I don't have anything against the wholesalers that are calling your sellers or the people that are going to estate sales and going and talking to sellers. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to handle it when I first started out.
Yep.
And I lost a lot of contracts this exact way. So what I started doing, this is probably about 4, maybe 5 years ago, is I would sign the contract. We'd open escrow. I'd copy the seller, transaction coordinator, title, everybody. And I would give everybody a copy because sometimes I would get sellers to go, I never got a copy. Bull crap, you never got a copy. You ever had that yet?
No, not yet. No.
Okay, you'll get that.
Yeah.
So make sure you email your sellers and all that stuff. I'm sure you're doing that. So what I started doing with sellers is recording every single conversation I have with my iPhone on voice memo, or I would do it on a Zoom. So when I'm recording and I'm calling the seller on a phone call, I turn on my Zoom and I record myself on Zoom.
Smart.
So it goes up to the cloud. I have it. And I started telling sellers right after I sign a contract, I say, all right, so here's what's going to happen. A couple of things. Number one, we're going to open escrow. You're going to get a copy, blah, 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 blah. Step 2 is da, 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 da. And step 3, you are still going to get phone calls with other investors. I want to coach you along exactly what to tell them so that they don't bother you anymore. Are you okay with this? Write this down. And so I started coaching sellers. They don't write it down, but you tell them to write it down. You're also recording the phone call. And you tell the seller, you say, you're going to get a phone call from somebody today, tomorrow, next week, in a month. And they're going to say, is your house for sale? And you're going to say, I've sold my house. They're going to say, how much are you selling the house for? And your response is, I'm sorry, that's none of your business. I'm in a legally binding contract.
I love it.
Now, I hated doing that at first, but then I fell in love with it because what happened is that issue of losing contracts over $2,000 freaking dollars went away.
Yeah.
Now you look at this, Carolina, and what you're telling me is you're saying that this seller this deal wouldn't have worked with cash. So we already know this is a bogus contract, right?
Kind of. It's a neighbor, California buyer with money, buying it for his daughter.
It's a neighbor buying it for his daughter, doesn't care how much he pays because he wants his daughter on the same street.
Right.
Simple. So you already have your attorney involved, or their attorney's calling you?
But first their attorney, and then we got one for ourselves.
Okay, and what's your attorney saying?
So they're reviewing the documents right now, but we did put a memorandum on the property already.
Smart. I love it.
Yeah, and that's kind of why his attorney got involved, because he wanted the memorandum.
What I would do on that deal is I would say, hey, tell the buyer they got to pay $5,000 over their existing.
Well, that's the kicker, is that the new buyer was going to pay me off to remove the memorandum, but his attorney stepped in. There's no offer on the table. You need to come through us. Yeah,
Ooh,
the attorney's
I love
kind
this.
of being very weird.
The attorney's intelligent because how is he going to bill hours if he just says, yeah, take the offer?
Yeah, and the homeowner really does not have any money.
Rhea, you ever had attorneys that are like, oh, you don't need me? My dad told me one time, he said, if you have an attorney if there's only one attorney in town, he goes broke. If there's 2 attorneys in town, they both get rich.
Oh.
Because what they do is they just bill, pass paper back and forth. This is what a great learning lesson this is for you.
It's been painful. It's given me some gray hairs.
I freaking love it. I love these types of deals. They're the best. Because you walk out knowing exactly how this feels. So the next time it happens, you're like, oh, this is not a big deal. I already know how this is going to go. This attorney's going to belabor it. They're going to try and tell us that we did something illegal. The thing you did wrong. What do you think you did wrong? Something you didn't do, not something you did do.
Is having that agreement, that contract that upfront agreement of don't be, this is a legally binding contract. I am your buyer. We are closing. And
recording it on a Zoom.
Well, I recorded most of my phone calls with the homeowner.
Okay, then what's the problem?
I don't know. We're in the thick of it right now, so I don't know.
Does your attorney know about the recordings?
Yeah, we gave him all of it.
Slam dunk.
And my emails where I itemized what our offer was, even though he didn't read the contract when he signed it. But there's a nice little quick cliff note of what I'm proposing.
Does it say that he scrolled through the DocuSign and clicked on the things?
I believe he actually emailed me saying that himself.
So what's great about this is that the new buyer can get under a contract with him, right? So the only thing they can do is go, I didn't know what I was signing. Well, you signed it. You can't get out of a contract by saying, I don't know what I signed.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Well, he's trying to.
You pushed me, you pressured me. Bro.
Yeah. I'm
old, I'm senile. Okay, then you shouldn't be selling to the other person. How do you know what that guy's signing if you're old, senile, and you don't have all your wits? You're selling to this other guy.
Yeah.
Dude, you have nothing to worry about.
I keep praying, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
This is so
foreign
great.
waters for me.
What are you praying for?
Just for a good outcome. I just have I don't know. I just have torn emotions on the whole thing, but we're seeing it through.
The torn emotions are that the seller had somebody pass away.
Yes.
And your whole thought is, well, I've been taught by not just Pace, but other people that this is a people business and that we're all here to help each other.
Right.
Okay, great. So did you do anything to manipulate him?
No, not
Did
at
you
all.
actually offer him a higher price than anybody else was willing to pay?
I don't know that he didn't really shop it around. He had called my bird dog who did like a mailer. And so he had talked to him a few times. And then from there, it was passed on to me.
Okay, so you've been in the business long enough to know that there's never been a seller on the planet that has not shopped something, either shopped something around or talked to 5 other investors.
Right, and he did talk to like an agent to try to list it, and the agent did tell him because there was a lot of he had animals in the house.
So here's the other thing that's not cool. The seller, why did the seller offer $2,000 more? Did he just blindly go, hey, I'll pay $410 for the property?
I didn't ask that piece. Yeah,
Of course he didn't.
Yeah.
He's going to say, well, somebody else already gave me $408. I'll pay you $410.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he have paid $411 or $415 or $420? Why did it land on $410? Why wasn't it $400? It's because the seller told the other buyer, I'm already under contract for $408. I'll sell to you for $410.
Yeah.
Holy moly. And so you've got torn emotions over this, as you should, but I can tell you that you'll walk out of this learning a ton, feeling that anxiety that when Jerry was on stage going,
the uncomfortable, I'm feeling it.
Yeah. This is so good. So like whatever the outcome is, what you actually obtained was that next level of discomfort. Is this your first legal thing that you've been involved in?
Yes.
Oh, this is so good. Yes. Oh, I love every part of this.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I love it. Every single time I've been into it, I've been in a legal thing. My first couple of times I was really stressed out about it. I had a deal. I don't know if you've ever heard this story. I get a lady under contract. I meet with her and I'm like, ooh, she's a drug addict. I record my whole appointment with her. I'm in her house. I record it and I can easily get under contract. But I go, I'm a dude in a single woman's house and she's obviously a drug addict and she's got like kids that she's abusing in this house. Oh. So I go, okay, I am going to have my wife meet with her tomorrow so that I, a male, does not look like I'm doing this. So my wife came back. She recorded the phone call and we get under contract. Okay, great. So I go to, at the time, this is a pretty long time ago. This is probably 7 years ago. This is back when I was using Jamil and a couple of other people to do most of my dispo, and I just pay everybody a flat fee to dispo my stuff, like $3,000. I don't want to dispo. I don't want to build a dispo team. I just want to go get 10, 15 contracts every single month. And I get a phone call from the title company like a week later and they go, hey, she's canceling the contract. She says she's going with somebody else. I go, no, that's not how this works. And the title company says, well, you're going to have to deal with it. We're canceling on our side. This is where I learned that title companies cannot cancel contracts. Okay. I learned so much through this. And now I've used that story to tell other title companies. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're not in charge of my contract. You've opened escrow. It's not your determination to tell them what the buyer and the seller do. You have to hold this escrow open until our attorneys figure it out. Didn't know that at the time. And I'm like, what? This is so weird. So I call her up and I find out that she blocked me on all her stuff. And I get an email a couple of days later. I'm like, what the freak is going on? I'm knocking on her door. I'm leaving notes on her door. What's going on? I get an email from her. And Carolina, I have never seen somebody so articulate in my life, so beautifully. Like the grammar that she used, I'm like, wow, this is like high school level. She's a 4th grade level education. What the heck is going on? Did she write the letter? And the letter was, I'm canceling on you because I was under duress. What? This girl doesn't know anything about duress. Right? She would be like, I'm under duress. She'd say, yes, I am wearing a dress. I'm like, no, you're under... She was being coached by somebody else to cancel the contract. Wow. And they were going through all this stuff. So I go, screw this. I'm going to litigate because I want to know what it feels like to litigate. So I call Sean St. Clair and I go, let's litigate. Let's take them to court. A year-long battle. About $15,000 later, the property has gone up $80,000 in value. This lady's still in the property, making the payment. I find out, we go to court, I find out it was the person that I did my dispo through.
No way.
Yep, because he's also the guy that filed bankruptcy on me 3 years after this.
Oh, geez.
You know that whole story about the guy? It was the same guy.
Oh.
So he finds out when I send him the contract, go, hey, I need you to sell this deal for me. He goes, oh my gosh, this is a phenomenal deal. Like Pace is going to make 80 grand and I'm going to make $3,000. So he's counting my money. Oh my gosh, did I learn so many great things through this. So I find out later through court, we go through a mediator and the mediator finds out, why did this come about? And she goes, well, I had a guy named John come and knock on my door and say, here's a copy of Pace's contract. I can show you how to get out of this contract and I can pay you $5,000 more. That's what he said to her. Took a copy of my contract, went to the house, said, I'll show you exactly how to get out of this.
Wow.
Wow is right. A year later, property goes up in value, $80,000. This is the saddest thing that happened, but I'm so glad it happened. Not the saddest thing, but it's pretty sad. This lady is paying her attorney's fees. John bails on her, runs away from this whole entire situation, and the judge orders her to pay all of my attorney's fees plus a $20,000 penalty.
Jeez.
So she paid $15,000 in attorney's fees, $20,000 penalty. So not only did I make 80 something thousand, the property went up 80,000 and I got a $20,000 discount.
Wow.
And I ended up flipping this deal and I made $200,000 on this deal.
Dang.
I also felt torn. But in business, unfortunately, unlike church or maybe family and those types of things, you kind of have to keep those separate. There's moments where you can just give and give and give. But in business, guess what your job is? There's somebody at some point, Carolina, because I know where you're at in your business. There's somebody that is praying for you to hire them. And unless you have money sitting in the bank from deals that you are successfully closing, you will not be able to scale your operation.
Yeah.
So not only you're sitting here feeling bad for the seller who is being deceitful, you should feel bad that you're not getting the transaction done so you can go hire another person to go build your business and scale. And now you're supplying income for another household. I would shift your paradigm a little bit. And that's how I shifted it. And what I did, that lady's name was April. I took that court case and every time a seller tried to cancel on me, I sent them an email with the PDF and I said, just so you know, the last time this happened to me, I ended up winning, got a $20,000 price reduction, and they paid my attorney's fees and the property went up during the entire battle. I didn't lose. I won big time. So when you go through this, you will get out the other side in a positive way and you will have proof of concept with your name and your company name on the court documents. And you will be able to go to sellers in the future that do this and say, I just want to let you know, this doesn't end well for anybody.
Okay.
It takes 3, 4, 5 months. This is like this thing that you're going to get is going to be future ammunition for all sorts of other deals because as you scale, you'll run into this more and more and more. This is the greatest thing that could happen to you.
Okay.
Lonza, have you had this happen yet?
Yes,
Multiple times. Am I spot on this?
You are spot on.
Oh, it's the greatest thing ever.
Okay.
I'm so happy for you.
Well, thank you.
Are we proud of Carolina Allen? Carolina Allen, what kind of deals are you looking for? What kind of help can you provide to people that are watching this YouTube video?
So if you live local to me, we do a bi-weekly in-person call session local in Washington County, actually in Tualatin. So feel free to look us up.
Tualatin, that's a real city, guys.
Oregon.
That's not a cartoon name. That's not like a comic book hero. That's a real people live in a city called Tualatin.
Tualatin. It's a great city. And then you can look me up on Instagram, Carolina Allen, with 2 E's. Carolina, Caroleena.
She had to change her spelling because you gringos don't know how to pronounce it. It's actually Carolina spelling, but Carolina pronunciation.
I'm trying to make it easy for people. And then as far as, I love squatting up. So most of my deals really truly have been from helping new people, new investors that need a little hand holding. So if you have a warm lead, it's already been filtered. I won't do cold calling, but it's been filtered. it sounds promising, they want to sell, it's, you know, there's motivation, and they need to do it in a reasonable timeline, please feel free to reach out. I love
Don't you love
helping.
the people that DM you and go, hey, I saw this house on Zillow. Will you help me?
No.
Really? Is this where we're spending our time? Is you're taking the time to DM me? And my response to those people all the time is like, amazing. What did the seller say the last time you talked to them? They go, oh, I haven't talked to the seller yet. Great. Talk to the seller first, figure out these things, and then come and utilize my skills.
Absolutely.
They're asking you to bake a cake, but not giving you any ingredients.
Oh, yep. That's true.
Okay. So Instagram name one more time.
Carolina, Caroleena, Allen, Allen.
It's too easy, guys. Give it up for Carolina Allen. Thank you, guys. See you in another video.
Thank you, Pace.